when someone goes into a Federal American Grill, the decor is consistent, but one of the things that is a constant are the flags that are outside of each and every building. I'm looking out there right now. They're waving in the wind.
Yep.
It's awesome. People get a feeling even before they get into the parking lot to come to the grill. Even those just driving by, they say, hey, look at that place flying. Not one flag, but, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6.
Yes, at every single restaurant. Near and dear to my heart, I love the United States. I love the U.S. The American flags are a symbol of who we are from the outside when you walk in. We are all patriotic. We give back as much as we possibly can. Veterans are near and dear to our heart. We Camp Hope is a big one. You know, the American flags and what they mean to us and for us. And when you walk through these doors, you know that, you know, we're all like-minded when you're walking through these doors with those American flags.
Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Knapik starts right now. Here's Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Successful Living with Bill Knapik. I am Bill Knapik, and today, a special edition as we're brought to you by P&R Creative and Jenna Jackson. Here we are on location at the world's famous, by now, Federal American Grill, the Hedwig Village location. We have the owner, Matt Bryce, a visionary, super guy, and also Kevin Vo. He's the director of operations. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having us on today.
Here we are again. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Well, everybody loves the Federal American Grill, and if they haven't been yet, they're going to love it, right, Matt?
I pray to God they will. We're going to do our best, create that amazing experience for everybody walking into this door.
And you hit a great word, because it is an experience. And I think as I travel and navigate different restaurants through life, I think some restaurants forget about the experience. Maybe they just focus on one thing, the food or whatever else, but you are mindful, as your team is mindful, of the whole experience.
Well, that's the business that we're in. We just so happen to serve food, beverages, drinks, alcohol, that good stuff. But it's all about the experience of when you walk through the door. I call it the 2-hour vacation, right? You're at work all day. You got the weight of your world on the shoulders. You might be going home, the family, having to cook, clean, or whatever it is. But when you walk into Federal, it is all about how can we make your life easy or enjoyable or, just fun and different. So we want you to be able to just relax, walk in here, and we want to be able to treat you like king or queen.
I like that 2-hour vacation.
2-hour vacation.
I need one every day, quite frankly. Well, let's tell people, Matt, first of all, those that don't know, the story is interesting of the Federal American Grill. Let's tell people about how you started.
Sure. First off, I have a very understanding partner, wife, Jen, who's been through this journey with me the whole time, and it's been challenging at times. But when we first started, we bought a restaurant that was already in existence. It was called Branchwater Tavern, and we just kind of took it over, and we just transferred into Federal Grill. It was a deal we did with the owners that wanted to get out, and we wanted to get in, and just kind of helped our deal. Long story short, is our first 2 years, we didn't know who we were. Honestly, I cooked for 7 years. Never missed a day for the most part, day and night, trying to make this thing work. And for the first 2 years, we were losing money. We're just barely making it. And I got to tell you, it was a struggle. We didn't really understand who we were. And then my wife contacted Johnny Caraba. And we were in a little bit of trouble, and we're like, what do we do? She contacted Johnny and says, Johnny, can we take some of your time to meet with you, if you don't mind, in the next week or so? Johnny goes, can you be here in 15 minutes? So Jen and I got in the car and we're like, hell yeah. So we took off. Yeah. So we took off and we met with Johnny, and we were up in his room above Mia's where he offices, and he had just opened Grace's at the time. And we just sat there, and he was going through his first struggle with Grace's. And so we sat there, we talked about what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and honestly, he just opened our eyes and he said, what kind of music you're playing? And we said Frank Sinatra. He goes, nobody wants to, I won't say with the word, hear Frank Sinatra anymore, right? And anyways, we love Frank, and he said, okay, what about your menu? And he was going through challenges with Grace's, saying he wouldn't even walk into Grace's for 6 months because he felt his first taste of blood. Anyways, at the end of that conversation, what we ended up doing is going back to our restaurants. We sat there, had dinner. It was boring as hell. It was a Thursday night, and we invited some friends just to be brutally honest about it, and they were. And we're like, this is horrible. The next day, went to all VIPs and regulars. Hey, what would you like to see on the menu? What do you like? What you don't like? So we recreated the menu. Jen went and put like a 10,000 playlist, fun, upbeat, so different music. Then we added TVs. We added a little bit more fans and just more energy into the place, and we just saw it slowly start to take off. I mean, there were times where I would call Jen, and it was a Friday when payroll would come in, and I had a $500 watch at the time, and she had a purse, and I said, listen, can you go intercept payroll, because I got to figure out how to get the money in the bank. So I'd go and pawn whatever we had, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So it wasn't all, rainbows and beautiful flowers. It's been a struggle.
Well, and that's one of the things. Successful people, successful businesses, you do what it takes if you're committed, if you're passionate. And I think that's where some failures happen, when someone doesn't have that passion or even have the smarts to say, hey, we're going to make it work by doing this, this, and this, even though we may not want to.
Oh, absolutely. It's fight or flight, right? And for sure I'm going to fight. And during that time, you just don't accept failure. It doesn't matter. You just got to pivot. You got to change. It's like during COVID, right? The whole thing, everybody had to either figure it out or you laid down and you lost, so you had to keep moving forward. And that's the same thing with business. That's the difference between a manager mentality and an ownership mentality, is you switch real fast saying, I got to make this happen. My family is dependent on this. I'm millions of dollars on the line. Never mind that, the families that are working with us deserve every effort that I can make to keep this restaurant alive. And that's exactly what had happened. And then since then, after the 2 years, we've seen double-digit growth in that first restaurant year after year, every single year up until COVID.
And let's tell people how many locations you have right now with doors open, business running.
All right, so right now we have 4 here. Katy, Woodlands, the one we're here at Hedwig Village, and then the original one on Shepherd, and then we have one in Scottsdale, Arizona that we opened about 6 months ago almost, and we have a new one under construction downtown.
How about that? And you have so many associates now, so the leadership and all the things you're doing is amplified even more so. And one of the associates right now, Kevin, he is the Director of Operations. Kevin, give us an idea of your role and a little bit about your story here at the Federal American Grill.
Thank you. My role, I love it, right? Because I get to directly impact our people's lives every day. And the key to our success and our continued success is really about finding the right people, put them in the right seats. And it's what I really love about my job as the Director of Ops. Building sales, making profits is important, but to do that successfully and continue to grow that organically, we got to have the right people. A little history about myself. Been in the restaurant industry for over 25 years now. Started my career with Outback Steakhouse in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, washing dishes, making a bloomin' onion.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, made a couple of those in my lifetime. But along the way, I was just very blessed to come across some incredible leaders that really helped me get me to where I am today. As been through this journey, no matter what company you're working for, you got to have a strong core values, as we talked about with Shield. And then along with that, you got to have the right people that really embodies the same principles that we have and are able to teach that and carry that out every single day. So I love my job. Matt has been a great mentor to me and a business partner as well, and allow me to do that part for the team. So,
and as you said, Director of Operations, just for clarification, is that over the entire organization or Hedwig Village where we're at now?
It's for all the organizations in the restaurants, but I'm also that liaisons between operations and the home office as well, right? So Matt and I and the leadership teams, we'll have our conversations, our business strategies, and then it's my responsibility to be able to filter that information through to giving that to our GMs, and then we cascade that down to our managers and our team members as well.
And the hardest thing for me with this transition, when you go from one restaurant to now going on 6, I tend to want to know everything in the company, okay? It's very hard for me to take a hands-off approach, which will never happen. But to have somebody like him that does instill our culture, because he's touching everybody in our 4 walls every single day, which is so important to me,
right,
that we can never lose that culture. It's all about our people. It's all about taking care of them. And that is who we are, is, our why is to improve the lives of everybody we touch. And I know that I can depend on him, especially in our company with the way he acts around people.
Well, Matt, I noticed that he said the home office. So that speaks to the growth of the organization.
Yes.
And did you ever think when you were pawning your watch and whatever else that there'd be a home office?
Man, I always had my dreams, and I knew that I'd accomplish them somehow with the right team. Can't do it without the right team. At the moment, No, not during that time saying, oh my God, are we just going to make it through here? But when you have the will, there's a way, we just kept moving forward, and I didn't look back. I didn't stress out on it. I just knew it was going to happen. This big, I have big dreams, so yeah, I was hoping.
Well, you're not done yet. That is for sure.
No.
And every time we've talked, we've actually been here. I don't know how long it's been at this very table, not that long ago, and at many of your restaurants on locations. But the going theme is the culture, also the growth, and it also seems it's not stopping anytime soon. And you have big dreams.
We do, actually, and I think the most important thing in our company, and coming from myself and Kevin, is letting everybody know what that means. Let the company know what that means. We just finished a accountability chart, an organizational chart, so people can see it through 2029, by the way. So somebody can see it without any names that are going to be future spots coming up, so somebody in our company can say, hey, I want that, how do I get there, right? And then on top of that, just talking about the culture, talking about where we're going and how we're doing it. We talk about Federal University. That's a big one. So we started FedU. And Federal University is actually an education center, not about federal. Right. It's more about how can we impact you and how can we help you learn. We just had one a couple weeks ago, and it's where any employee can come and they can learn about, so we gave a book, Think and Grow Rich, very, very important book. Yep. Everybody should read in their lives if you haven't, by Napoleon Hill. And we said, listen, if you guys are gonna come to this, you need to read this book. Then we had a speaker, Peter Remington, who educates people. So he came and spoke for 4 hours?
Yeah.
4 hours on the book on how to think and grow rich and going through the process. So these are really cool things that we're able to do as we grow to impact the employees and others that want to join and grow and learn more. So it's really cool what we're able to do with this. It's not about how do you serve better and all that stuff. Of course we talk about some stuff like that, but it's more so about personal growth. We always ask, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? Forget about federal. If it's not federal, what do you want to be? Somebody raised their hand the other day, said, I want to start a coffee shop. I go, awesome, we can help you start a coffee shop. And so we got a little bit into that. So now we know she wants to do a coffee shop, so we can then help her get to that level of getting her onto her dream. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So it feels pretty awesome about that.
Yeah, I think the great thing, is when we sit down with our team, we always ask them two questions, right? What is your personal goal, right? We start off with the personal goal first, and then we ask the teams, what is your professional goal? And when I ask that question, I also make it clear to the team, if it's not federal long-term, it's perfectly okay. And if you are passionate about something, we will help you get there, whether it's writing a business plan or setting you up for an interview. And that's a great thing. It definitely ties into our core values about positivity impacting the lives of everyone that we touch. So.
Absolutely.
Well, let's tell people, you mentioned this, those that are listening here in Houston are Houstonian listeners, and of course people listen on the internet after the broadcast on YouTube and various platforms, and even the iHeartRadio app, by the way. They can hear at the time of broadcast. But you mentioned for the Houstonians and those that visit Houston, which you get a lot of business travelers, I know. You mentioned a downtown Houston location. Give us a little more on that.
Sure. Downtown's a unique area. I've been wanting to go there for a while, and it's just been, are people going back to work? Are they not going back to work? That kind of stuff.
Where are they?
Hey, we really want to help be that small piece to help build downtown even more. It's looking good. People are going back to work. We do a lot of surveys to see, how many people are there. We're right across the street from Pappas Steakhouse, so we're going to share a valet. So right directly across, their front door is our front door. So we have this beautiful greenish that people can run around on. Kids can run around and towards the front of the building. It's right on McKinney Avenue. It's in a huge building, the Lionel Dell building. It's 44-story building, so it's really exciting times. And it's in a perfect spot. So, we rely heavily on hotel relationships, business travelers, conventions, sporting events. And of course, lunchtime is going to be a big deal for us because that's where you're going to get the majority of your sales, is because of the fact that that's where everybody works. Now, not a ton of people live down there,
right.
So a lot of times you'll see them go away. So we have our challenges for sure, but I'm really excited about this location. We have 3 private rooms. So we had an additional, all the other restaurants, we have 2 private rooms, but now we'll have 3 private rooms so we can do some more corporate events, and I'm sure we're going to rely heavily on those as well.
Give us an idea as far as size. You're mentioning the private rooms. Right where we're at, Hedwig Village, how much the seating here for how many people?
So it's roughly,
how many tables?
It's 7,200 square feet, and that's the typical prototype for what we're looking for. We have one that's 9,000 in Katy, but that building was already there, so we went around it. The one downtown is going to be the same size as here, and that'll seat about 250 people, in general. And then our private rooms will seat 40 plus in one, 20 in another, and about 16 in another. So we have the ability to have those 3 private rooms. Of course, we also sell out our bar quite often. So someone will say, can we do a happy hour cocktail for my company? And we'll put some food out for you, some finger foods, and they'll do a happy hour. It's awesome. So we have a lot of little things that we can do.
Well, in fact, as far as your business with even catering, is the people that there are some people, and I know their names, that just say, hey, I want the whole restaurant. That happens too every now and then. It happens right here, I know, and even in the Woodlands.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of different revenue centers, and that is not just in your 4 walls, but the catering for sure. Downtown's going to be big catering. We're also going to, in the building, bring it up to you as well. So if they want to order so they don't have to leave their desk or they don't have time, it'll be cool. Also, this is a unique. None of the other federals have this, but seeing that we're downtown, a little plug here, I invested in a company called 4WD Coffee. That's 4 then WDcoffee.com. You like that?
Like 4-wheel drive.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So 2 of my friends, this is kind of their dream. They've been working on their coffee sommeliers, if that's a word.
Very good. Yes, I've had it.
These guys are amazing. So we are making Federal Grill a grab and go right by the front entryway of the main building. So you can come in and grab a quick sandwich or something and then get 4WD coffee. We have, Lajitas, which is like a cinnamon taste to it, and some other coffee. So you're going to see that as another part of ours. So you can come in, grab a coffee, grab a croissant or a muffin or whatnot. So we don't do that at any of the other restaurants, but seeing it's downtown early morning, why not, right?
Yep, that's a good idea. Kevin, what are some of the other things you're doing as you look over the operations with all the locations? There's a lot of things going on. How do you organize your time, and what are the things that you look out for the most as you view and participate and help along?
Yeah, great question. First and foremost, I got to make sure that I have the right team on board. We talked heavily about the GMs and the managers, but also we've made some additions recently to our regional team. Aaron Gatlin, our regional culinary director, and then we just hired for the first time a director of training, Josh Pena, where he's finishing up his training right now. He's building out a new training program for the company, but also working on the internal development, which is going to be very critical to help support us on our growth as we continue to grow here. And then Jerry Glover is our beverage director. So building up these teams, from the home office side, the regional team, but also the operations is going to be super critical for us. So.
And as the company grows, Matt, I'm already putting the pieces together. Way back, there are some positions you didn't need, but as you grow, you're like, oh, we're going to need this position, that position.
Yeah, so that's been the hardest part, is what's next, right? Who to hire next. And that's why we did the exercise of the organizational chart is, okay, as we go to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th restaurant, what are our needs going to be, and what's going to be most important for us to move forward and have laser focus, and that's the key. So having him oversee all the restaurants, and having Aaron, like he said, Aaron Gatlin, oversee all the kitchens, right? Then we have Jerry Glover, who oversees all the bars, and so on. So we have, and then you have bar managers in each restaurant, right? So you have all this oversight. Then you have managers managing. It's a lot of moving pieces. But my background and his background, I've worked for the mom and pops when I was 12 and so on and so forth. But I also worked for Brinker International, right? He was an Outback guy. So Chili's guy, and now it's Ruth Chris guy. So anyways, they teach you all about these systems and what you need to do to grow correctly. We could have done it a lot more the hard way. If Kevin weren't here with me right now, I wouldn't have any hair, so no offense.
Well, that's all right.
But, it's one of those things where you have to build this team in order to grow. If we weren't growing, we wouldn't need hardly any of this team. It would just be myself in the restaurants with maybe Kevin, maybe somebody else, but not as big of a team. Moving forward, if you saw the organizational chart, it's big.
I like that. Till 2029, and it helps you do whatever role someone is in a company, owner, whatever the role is. It helps us do and exceed expectations when we have an idea what's going to be what we're shooting for down the road, as in 2029.
Yes, and I got to tell you, the team that we have is phenomenal. They really are, because I went back to the team and I said, listen, guys, right now, if we stopped our growth, you all would get paid double what you're getting paid now. And I said, that's it, period. You would, because luckily, knock on wood, with our cash flow that's coming in, what we're doing is everybody's getting paid well, but the future looks bright. So what we do is take all that cash flow and put it into another restaurant, into another restaurant, into another restaurant. Now we could easily be putting it into our pockets, but there wouldn't be growth there. And I don't think, and the whole team says, no, we're excited for the growth. They see the money. I see the money. That's not why we're doing this. Of course, it's great with money and it helps out a lot. Don't get me wrong. But it's about that growth, and everybody on our team wants this growth. And so we're all paddling in the same direction, which is huge. And I think those, for sure, everybody sees what the outcome's going to be as we get bigger and bigger and bigger.
As you talk about growth and as you select people on the team in whatever role they're in, personal growth and drive that we have as individuals, you, Matt, as you lead this team that's growing so much, you never stop. I mean, you're seeking out other leaders, other ideas. You were just on, I understand, a trip to Florida to have some motivation, to have some more inspiration. But a successful leader is always looking for that inspiration, and it's a desire and a thirst that keeps on going, right?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. 100%. It's got to be in who you are. It's got to be in your blood, and you got to want it. Nobody's going to tell you to go get it. You have to be the one that has to go after it and go get it because you want it. That's a great, for instance, in Florida, my wife and I flew down to Miami. If you haven't watched him, watch him. His name's Patrick Bet David. He's awesome to listen to. He's an amazing podcast. His growth is huge. He comes from nothing, and he made a huge insurance company out of it, and then he owns 10 other businesses. This guy, I paid big dollars to sit in a room with 20 CEOs that all paid the same, so we could pick his brain and each other's brain, and just flew down there for that reason. And just to come back with one or two bits of information that could bring our company from here to here, which I think we're doing, and we have right here written down too. But it was an amazing experience. And I don't think you don't have to go to that extreme, but I'd say to anybody, if you're not self-educating, then what are you doing? What's your purpose? What's your why? So go after it. Read books, watch podcasts, and always watch people that are more successful than you. That's the only way you're going to learn. So
Exactly. Now, Matt, I've never been on an educational trip with you or an eating trip, but you can ask any time. I'd gladly go. But I'm picturing Matt Bryce on the way back from this event just busting with, oh, man, I want to try this idea. Am I right? Come on.
Kevin can answer that one.
It's like, okay, when we get there, we're going to do this. You're already texting, right? There's excitement when we learn something, when we have that nugget of learning or something that we know we can deploy in our organization. It's pretty exciting, and then you get to deploy it.
Yep. You do. There's something that's called a quick start, and mine's pretty high. So, and then when you have that idea, luckily you have a good balance of a team. So yes, I'll come back and be like, guys, we got to do this, 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 and this. And then they'll say, Matt, wait. We need A, B, and C before you can go to D, okay?
A few steps, yes.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's why we built the team. But 100%, that's the excitement is so hard to hold on to because I want it now. You see it and you just, why not? Just do it. No, Matt, So we will get there. We are getting there. And every single time I find, like we do shares all the time, meaning we're on this text thread and we'll send podcasts that we're seeing. Like Kevin will send podcasts. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be, name's Ed Milet.
I was just mentioning, I was going to say, if you haven't heard Ed, Ed's great too. I listen to all
of his stuff, and I've read most of his books. And Ed Milet's another great one. And, there's so many. Simon Sinek is an amazing one. If you haven't, Simon Sinek talks about the empathetic leader, and he also talks about your why. So we will be sending these out all the time. And if you just get that one message, in that 30-second podcast, that's what it takes. It's called, it's manifesting. It's really exciting to manifest and then to see it come to life. So we're picturing this restaurant business with 50 to 100 restaurants in the next 10 years, and you just every day has to get you towards that. It could just be one little movement. It's a big deal. It's fun.
It's very exciting. And when people visit any Federal American Grill, actually, you may be listening. If you're listening at the time of broadcast right here in Houston, Texas, Sunday afternoon, 6 to 7, you're going to be driving by a Federal American Grill somewhere. It could be the Woodlands. It could be right here at Hedwig Village as thousands of cars pass us. Yeah. Feel free to come on in and say, hey, we heard the show. We want some of the great service and some of the great culture and food.
I love that. If you say you saw this show on Bill's show, free appetizer. Just say it so we know that you watched the show. It'd be really cool to see the people that are coming in.
Cheeseburger, egg rolls would be my recommendations, but there are so many. We're talking with Matt Bryce, owner of the Federal American Grill, and Kevin Vo. He is the director of operations. These guys are doing incredible work, as is everybody on the team at the Federal American Grill. Before we close this first segment, Matt, what else do we want to know? Well,
just that we got a lot going on. There's a lot of events that are coming up. We have some whiskey dinners. Stay tuned take a look at the website, please. We always have some great information on there on what's coming up, so we're always trying to stay ahead on that. Jenna Jackson, who's our PR Woman of the Year. She's amazing. She keeps us on track.
Really
She's
is.
always making sure that what's next is on there. So a lot of cool events that are coming up. What's one of the next events?
We got whiskey dinners, wine dinners coming up. We got some more party packs coming around for 4th of July as well. So lots of different.
What's a party pack? I could kind of figure it out, but let's
it's
expound.
just federal party packs are just that. They're for 4 or more people. 4 or more people, and it makes it easy. And we have it's all on the website now, and you should see pictures of what it is. So wings, sliders, all different kinds of sliders. So if you just want to take it easy by the pool, or you're going to the beach, or maybe you just don't want to cook that night. So it makes it easy, and variety for everybody is super simple.
So someone could say, hey, I want a party pack for 4, 8. They call or do
Yep.
it online as well?
You can do. We don't have online yet. We will, though. But they just call up, and they'll put it in, and it should be ready in no time, in 20 minutes at least, somewhere right around there. And then also, just to finalize, brunch is huge. So we just redid a brunch menu. Okay, so it's a new menu. We're really excited about it. All the locations, and we're doing live music every Sunday during brunch from 11 to 2.
At all the locations.
And then
Live
the bands
music.
will all rotate. So they'll go from restaurant to restaurant. So you see one band one week, and then they'll move to another. We have a DJ on Sundays at the Shepherd restaurant. So it's kind of cool. It's fun. It's unique and different. So we're livening up our brunch, and definitely new tastes as well with the new menu.
Once again, we're talking with Matt Bryce, owner of the Federal American Grill, and Kevin Vo, Director of Operations. Kevin, as I'm thinking about now, you've added the musical element. There's a lot of directing to be done in operations, isn't there?
There is, but it keeps it fun and keeps it interesting for us too. So
And it's fun for people to visit. We're going to come right back with so much more right here on location at the Federal American Grill in Hedwig Village. At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us. Hey everybody, welcome back. We are still at the Federal American Grill, Hedwig Village, with the owner, Matt Bryce, and Kevin Vo. He is the Director of Operations. Thanks to Jenna Jackson and her team at P&R Creative. We're here having a good time. We're glad you're joining us. Kevin, let's start with you. As far as you are here, Director of Operations over all the locations, give us an idea. How did you even find the Federal Grill, and what made you want to be a part of the team, a big part of the team?
Well, the funny story behind it, as I was sharing with Matt when we met last year in July, the first time I heard of Matt was when I was in Chicago. Saw a news clip of Matt, and during COVID, and what blew me away was just the passion that Matt had in fighting for his people. And I always told myself that's somebody that I want to work with, that I want to go to battle with. Fast forward 2 years, as I was looking for my next job, I came across Matt's office, right? And just sitting there and just talking to Matt, I really just fell in love with Matt's vision, his passion, but more importantly, the core values that Matt and Federal has on there. And, it's crazy how time just flies on by. It's been over 10 months now, and just enjoying every moment of it. So
You moved from Chicago.
Yep.
Well, welcome to the heat and humidity.
Thank you. Yeah.
How's that working out for you? Okay?
It's great. It's funny because this is actually the 4th time that I've lived back in Houston. I just had the benefit of living throughout the U.S. But when I was with Outback the last 2 years, I was running the Chicago market, and it was just time for us to get back home. So,
Well, one of the big things, too, as there are so many people with the team right now, there's new positions, all those things, but how do you recruit? Do you recruit people for various positions? How does that work?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of word of mouth. We try to go that way because when the word gets out that you have a great culture and that you have these open positions and that we're on the up and up and growing, that attracts a lot.
The word is out.
Yeah, law of attraction, right? So it's pretty awesome that we are seeing that, and we're always looking to grow and add more people, great people with our culture into our company. Right. And so just there's so many different areas that we look into for sure. And it does start with culture before we look at locations, right? Our culture is everything. You'll hear that word 10 million times probably during your podcast today because of the fact that that is how important it is. It's the one thing that even talking with Johnny Caraba, I bring him up a lot. I respect that man very highly and what he's created. And so he's who I want to be when I grow up, and but culture is where it's at. And when you build that correctly, you're going to see great things happen. So when you take care of people, our why in our company is to improve the lives of everybody we touch. That is it. And if you have that culture, we want you to work with us to improve the lives of everybody we touch. That means every employee. And let me give you an example of who we are. So, and when you're doing, the most important thing you can do is an interview. And when you're interviewing, it's what I call dating, right? So before you make a commitment.
Exactly.
And you're dating and you're asking all the questions. Well, what would you like? What would you like? What do I want? What do I want? And so at the end of the day, you should know, if you're hiring a server, how far do you live? How many kids do you have? What do you like to do outside of the restaurant? Okay? What is your ideal schedule versus what is your availability? These are all important questions to say, hey, I care. So let's make sure before we commit to this. Oh, and by the way, how much money do you need to make a week? Because let's just make sure that we're clear on that. Because if you need to make $1 million a week, unfortunately, we're not there yet. Okay? So when you take the time to do this right, and you're not just putting a body because you're short a server. I'd rather be short servers, short kitchen, short everywhere, and have the right people doing it. I'd rather have Michael Jordan take a bigger section table because we know that we can rely on Michael Jordan and he can rely on us. All right, so I just want to explain the culture a little bit of what we're looking for before somebody comes on. So those are the people that we want. Leaders, not managers. You can manage to make your bed, all right? But leaders are different, and this is what we're practicing all the time.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yes, sir. 100%. Yeah, so, when we're looking to hire on people, what's important for me, and I'll talk about my personal experience, and I think people forget about this, is a lot of times we're trying to chase the next company. But what's important for people to understand is you have to understand who you are, what your personal core values are. And once you understand what your personal core values are, it's going to make that search a lot easier for you. So I go back to the story that I had with Matt, the 2 hours that we were talking that day back in July, was everything that I personally believe in and my personal values, it aligned perfectly with who Matt is, but also with Federal as well. And I think that's a key insight that people forget about sometimes, because I asked that question, hey, Bill, what's important to you? What are you personally looking for? And unfortunately, a lot of times people don't think about that part of the process. So when we're interviewing someone, what I'm also looking for is this person interviewing us, have they done the homework to understand who Federal is? Because we want to make sure that when we give this person an opportunity to join the team, it's got to make sense, not just for Federal, but for the individual as well. And so those are things that's very important for me. And as part of my job is to make sure that we're bringing on the right people to protect the Federal team as well.
What I like mostly about Kevin, so when we first met, we were talking about the core values and bringing him on, is he is our core values. And this is important. What I mean by that is, you asked me a question earlier, is, basically you have to be self-motivated, right? What I'm looking for personally are people like Kevin, because Kevin doesn't need me, all right? I'm sure it's nice to have me to bounce ideas and to talk culture, but Kevin doesn't need me to bring that culture to the restaurants. And so when I see that in Kevin, that's the hardest thing, is people come into interviews and big, COO interview, director of operation, whatever it is, general managers, and they're all excited. Why? Because they're meeting with Kevin, and they're meeting with me, and they're meeting with somebody else that has our energy and has our core values. Yep. But what happens is, in a lot of companies, is then they go on their own, and now they said yes, and now they started, except the motivation is gone, right? They're not as excited. Now it's just a job. So we continuously try to talk with everybody. We have leadership meetings, and we try to keep everybody up, because we know it's very hard to be self-motivated all the time. So we want self-motivated people, period. You have to want to be in the people business, in the experience business. Forget the food. Food's great. We know that. All right. We have problems, but it's great. We have our drinks. We have our whiskey. We have all that stuff. But it's got to be in your blood.
Food is great.
It's got to be in your blood.
Okay. So one of the things now, kind of like The Godfather, I forget at the opening scene, and that day may never come. But as I've talked to people on location at your restaurants, Matt, it's always interesting, as Kevin just did a few minutes ago, everybody mentions their interview with Matt Bryce. So maybe that day will come, or one day I'll be interviewing with you,
or vice versa.
or vice versa. But, and of course, like the guy, that day may never come. But who knows? It sounds like that so much happens during the recruitment process, and I'm sure there's more than one interview, the interview process. Yep. But the other thing I'm thinking about right now, whether it's at the time of broadcast, on Sunday afternoon, or later people hear this, there may be people listening where, they've heard about the Federal American Grill. They may be at a point in their lives where they want to change, and maybe they have the right stuff to be part of the team. They may be listening now and say, hey, I want to reach out to the Federal American Grill. What should people do if they're in that mode, whatever their profession is? Maybe they're already working at a restaurant, or they're in the hospitality world in another form.
Yeah, the advice I would give to everyone is do your homework and really ask yourself, what is your why? Right? When you start to look for a new company or a new team to join, you got to ask, why am I searching? What is that one void, and can we be that team to give that to you? Right? It's very important, because then that eliminates the job hopping from one job to another. And I would tell you, the one thing that really blew me away about Matt is actually two things. I apologize. One, anything that I wanted to know about Matt or Federal during our conversation, I never had to ask. And the second thing was, I know it was a 30-minute conversation we were supposed to have that day, and it became a 2-hour conversation. But what blew me away was, as busy as Matt is, he never once looked at his watch, nor did he pick up his phone. And that told me how serious Matt was, but the respect that, hey, you have my time 100%. So those are the two things that's important for me. And that's what I look for as well in the individual that I'm interviewing, to say, how serious are you wanting to join this team? Have you done the homework on that side? But more importantly, they got to know why they're searching. What is it that they're looking? Can we be that company, that team, to give that to the individual?
That's such an important piece. Is, a lot of people say, I need a job, they go get a job, then they're miserable. What you need to do is look at your why is so important. Why are you getting up in the morning? Why are you doing this? And if you want to do it in a restaurant company, I hope we're the one for you. Yep. But you need to be, why are you living life? Why wouldn't you get up excited? And if you're not getting up excited, I tell you, leave your job now. It's not about the money. You're going to go make them, just go. Like, this is your one life, guys. And if you really want to be excited about it, then you need to be in the right fit for you. It might not be Federal. Maybe our core values aren't what fits your core values. But you're right. Find the company that is going to make you as happy as you possibly can, and do things that make you happy. Take things off your desk that don't make you happy. We're working on that every single day, right? Yeah.
And what was challenging for me was when I was looking to find the next team to join, and I was sharing this with Jenna this morning, was that, I had a couple of companies I was talking to, and I felt good about it. But unfortunately, I didn't get the offer. And then there were some companies that I was talking to that I wasn't sure they made me the offer, but then I turned it down. And I really had to go back and do some self-reflecting on it. And what it came down to is, when I was sitting in that chair at the home office waiting to talk with Matt, I was reading our core values: shield, urgency, right? Sense of urgency, hospitable, integrity, empathy, lifetime learner, discipline. Yes is the answer. What's the question? And I was like, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. And it just clicked, right? And then when I went back to realize why I turned down those offers or why I didn't get it, I just realized my personal core values didn't align with those companies' core values. So those are things that's very important for us to think about as we're moving forward with this.
And Bill, just for those watching and listening, 2.5 years ago, your job didn't exist here in this company, right? Director of culinary didn't exist. HR didn't exist. Marketing didn't exist. Well, marketing existed a little bit, but that was me and a few posts on Facebook. But what we're saying is now this growth potential has been massive. And over the last really year and a half, he said he's been with us 10 months. Our HR department's been with us just over a year, right? There's just been a few. This is a big growth pattern for us right now, which is huge. So bringing on the right people is to make an impactful, part of our business is just so vital right now. But it's fun to see where we were, where me cooking every single day and managing the front and all this other stuff, to now Kevin overseeing all the restaurants and all these positions we already talked about before, and adding more and more and more. So it's really exciting to see that, and we're just looking for the right people. So hopefully if somebody out there is looking, come on in. We'd love to meet you.
Also, one of the things that's distinctive about the Federal American Grill is the longevity that you've enjoyed right now. You have some associates that have been with you for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And when you find that right person and they find the right match, they tend to stay and grow with the company. And along the way, I'm sure you didn't have the university years ago, but you're doing things that just that's feeding the people that have that desire, that want to grow personally, and those things. So it's pretty exciting.
This is where the money thing comes in. So as we make more money, we get to do more great things with it. And one thing that we've talked about and we've actually had meetings about is being the Google of restaurants. So we really want, if you look at the Google campus, right, they got everything there for you.
Back to the home office.
It's so cool. Yeah. I mean, we're nowhere near that yet, okay, so don't let me fool you. But those are the goals. The goals are, how can we add so much value to everybody that works with us? Right. How can we add more benefits? How can we add more fun things, the Federal U? How can we add, we already have the 401ks and all that stuff, but we want to just keep adding and adding and adding, because then why would you want to leave? We want you to be on board for a long time until you make millions of dollars, but whatever that is for you. So we're trying to figure out, be innovative in this restaurant industry to change it. Because what makes a company great is, restaurants are restaurants, but it's what you do differently. It doesn't even need to be better. It's what you do differently that'll bring you to the next level. And that's why we always have innovative meetings. We're always thinking of it's called working on your business, not in it. And when you're stuck working in your business, I have to move this cup from here to here. We have to do dishes. All that's working in your business. But when you take a step back and you have time to work on your business, this is where it makes you extremely successful. We're not there yet, but this is what we're working on. So we can brainstorm on saying, hey, all right, think outside the box, guys. What could we do differently than any other restaurant? And that's the mindset.
Matt, I just had a glimpse. I'm looking beyond 2029 right now for some reason in my mind, and I'm seeing Matt Bryce writing books about your experience. I'm seeing you even on a speaker circuit. I don't know, maybe some broadcast with Netflix or some kind of broadcast. I don't know. I've seen all this stuff. I'm having visions. That's all I'm saying. One of the things, when people are they're experiencing the culture, the people that you have here, but when someone goes into a Federal American Grill, the decor is consistent. It's different. Each location's different. But one of the things that is a constant are the flags that are outside of each and every building. I'm looking out there right now. They're waving in the wind. Yep. It's awesome. People get a feeling even before they get into the parking lot to come to the grill. Even those just driving by, they say, hey, look at that place flying. Not one flag, but, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6.
Yes. At every single restaurant. Near and dear to my heart, I love the United States. I love the U.S. The American flags are a symbol of who we are from the outside when you walk in. I hope that we are all patriotic. We give back as much as we possibly can. Veterans are near and dear to our heart. We Camp Hope is a big one. So we have a menu coming up, actually. And the menu coming up for Camp Hope is in August. So we're doing that here in this location, Hedwig. And a portion of all the money goes to Camp Hope if you order off this menu. It's like a restaurant weeks, but for Camp Hope. So that's just one thing. My brother's a police officer. So he's been in the force for 27 years, plus he's a veteran. He did 3 tours. And so police officers, part of a Red, White, and Blue foundation as well. So it's red and blue, back to red and blue. And so we're very highly involved there. So it all goes into, the American flags and what they mean to us and for us. And when you walk through these doors, you know that, we're all like-minded when you're walking through these doors with those American flags.
All right, here's something in left field, but I don't know how old you are. You're dynamic, you're exciting, but 10 years old. Matt Bryce, 10 years old, just picking a number, but you were a youngster at 10 or 9 or 11. What were you thinking? Did you have goals or what were your dreams at that point? And by the way, where did you grow up? What city?
I grew up in western Massachusetts, called Chicopee, Massachusetts. So
man.
Not the prettiest place in the world, but I had a great...
What about Peabody?
Peabody is a little further out there. It's about half hour away.
Revere,
but to be honest with you, our mindset grew up differently. So no, not really. I'll just be honest. I always want to be like most kids, a professional.
I want to be successful.
Basketball player, NBA, that kind of stuff. But then when I was 12, I had to work, so I became a dishwasher. And that restaurant's still in operation today that they gave me my start. And then went from dishwasher for a couple of years to busboy to cook. And they taught me how to cut fish and all this stuff. It's really cool. I started falling in love with the business because they're the Dugri family. It's called Lucky Strike Restaurant. And the Dugri family taught me how to treat people. They treated us like gold. So 7th, 8th grade, I was playing a suburban basketball league. And we were going to get jackets, but I didn't have the money for the jacket. He went and bought me my jacket. That's a big deal, the owner of that restaurant. And that was just something that I would never forget for the rest of my life. And I think that's why a big part of why I do what I do to impact the lives of everybody we touch has a lot to do with them. My parents were great too. They had a lot to give them a lot of credit. But I think that one instance was I want to do that for somebody. And so then after that, it just stuck with me. And well, okay, I failed out of college. I'll tell you that. And so I wasn't a great student at all. Whatever, but I always
You're thinking about a lot of things. You're like me, I think a little bit, and focus is key to be successful. But I know I have a hard time focusing because I have so many ideas and thinking.
Yes,
you may be the same way. I don't know.
Oh, it's always been a challenge. I wish I could have learned standing up, because sitting down is not my thing. So yes, I have a hard time focusing here and there. I'm like, oh look, butterfly,
Hey, look, Jenna Jackson.
Yeah, hey, on to the next one. What's next? But what's interesting is that when you do have that ability to see outside the box, what for me changed my life was movement, right? Movement in general, and everything you do in life. Always be uncomfortable and move. Uncomfortable and move. When you're too comfortable, get out of that. That's my best advice I can give to you. Stay uncomfortable. So then I moved for every opportunity that I saw. So I missed a lot of Christmases and birthdays, anniversaries, family outings. I sacrificed all that growing up because I knew that there was more out there and I didn't want to stay stagnant. So I think that was the biggest part for me is I always say yes, 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 and take those opportunities, right? You're doing a lot of the same.
Yeah, that was one of the driving forces why I left Outback. Phenomenal company, gave me so much, had an opportunity to meet so many incredible leaders along the way. But I wanted to challenge. I wanted to get out of that comfort zone. And now coming on board with Federal has allowed us to do that because we're growing so rapidly that every day is going to be a new day, right? And so that's the part that I enjoy the most in being around Matt because he is a visionary. He's always going 100 miles an hour. It's my responsibility. My team say, hey, Matt, let's slow it down for a second. And he gives us that opportunity. But then next day he's like, hey, where are we at, right? so.
Well, like the Navy SEALs, what you're saying, Matt, always advance your position.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
So, and Kevin, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Houston. Like I said earlier, this is the 4th time that I've lived here. I like to tell people that I was a really good kid when I was growing up, that my parents sent me to New Orleans to an all-boy Catholic private boarding school.
Nice.
But that's because I was such a good kid, right? I was sent there to help all the other kids, right? But no, I'll tell you.
Got a good imagination.
Yeah. I'm going to stick to that story when I tell my son that's why Dad got sent away. But no, I fell in love with Louisiana. Yeah, I fell in love with Louisiana with my time down there. And that's when I got into the restaurant industry, back in 1998, 99. But yeah, it's, going from there to California, living in Salt Lake City, Denver, Chicago. So I've been able to live in so many different cities and states that, it's an advantage as well as we continue to grow to be able to understand what the markets are going to be like as well, so.
We're talking with Matt Price, owner of the Federal American Grill, and Kevin Vo, Director of Operations. Guys, we have a few minutes left. What do we want to tell people?
Take it first.
Well, a bunch of things going on. Just to recap, so we have our new brunch at all the locations. You got to check it out, please, and give us some feedback. We want it, please. Live music with those brunches, 11 to 2 at every location. Different music almost every week. Heather, who's working with us, is setting all those up, so that's pretty cool. So that's a job in itself. Our new lunch menus are at selected locations, most all locations, and it's $21.95 for a 2-course menu. So that's a new thing for us. I think that's awesome. Whiskey, it's a lot of information. Whiskey dinners. Awesome. We have a Whistle Pig dinner coming up, so that's an awesome Whistle Pig rye out of Vermont. It's pretty cool. It's coming up as well. And then our federal party packs. Those are easy. They make your life easy. It's for 4 or more. You can order, come pick them up in 20 minutes. They'll be ready. So all sorts of things: ribs, sliders, wings. We got our cheeseburger egg rolls that you so often talk about, right? They're the number one seller. We have some new kung pao ribs, sticky ribs, or whatever they're called.
Gained a few pounds in the last couple of months tasting those, but
so a lot of new exciting things coming up. There's a lot of information there, but you can visit it all at our website, thefederalgrill.com. So THE federalgrill.com.
thefederalgrill.com. It's all happening at the Federal American Grill. Super awesome. One more time, the website is
thefederalgrill.com.
And Kevin, final thought, what else you want people to know?
No, just thank you for the time today. But, if you guys, out there are looking for an opportunity with an expanding company that has great core values and wants to grow, just definitely reach out to us. We would love to just talk to you and get to know you. But, yeah, if you ever need anything, just please let us know. So.
Perfect. Quick word. Both of you guys are in super shape. You're around food all the time. I'd be eating my way through the job, probably get fired. I don't know. But how do you stay in shape, Matt? You're in super shape. Quick word.
Hey, stay on pickleball, boxing, tennis, lifting weights, running.
Kevin.
Working in all the restaurants and chasing my 4-year-old around the house every day. So.
It keeps you hopping all the time. So it's super awesome. The party packs, once again, let's remind people, and they can get a party pack anytime. It's not just during holidays and so forth.
Yeah, yes is the answer. What's the question? So we're running a promo for 4th of July, but if they want it in August, September, October, November, we'll make that happen for them.
And, of course, the lunch specials, those are great as well. Evening and live entertainment. I love that.
Yeah.
Brunches, live entertainment, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it makes it a lot of fun. Not too overpowering with the noise, but a lot of fun just to uplift those brunches. Who doesn't want to have fun at brunch? Sunday fun day.
What is your estimate on the downtown location opening in Houston?
Permitting is a little bit of a tricky thing going on right now, but we're trying by November.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah. We haven't even started construction yet, so we're waiting on the final permit, so we'll see. But that's our goal.
Yes is the answer. What's the question, right, Matt?
Yes, always.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Successful Living with Bill Knapik. That's me, and today, the owner of the Federal American Grill, Matt Bryce, Kevin Vo, and Jenna Jackson, right here with us for moral support and helping promote this at all turns. Jenna Jackson, P&R Creative. Thank you all for listening to Successful Living. We will see you next week. My website is radiobill.net. That's right, where you could see, if you're listening at the time of broadcast and you want to see the show, you want to see here we are at the Federal Grill, the YouTube video will be there at radiobill.net. If you're driving by, salute to the flags. They are here waving at every Federal American Grill location. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate
it.
At P&R Creative, your story is our motivation. We want to tell your story in a way that resonates with your target market, whether that be your employees, your investors, potential customers, or a global television and film audience. We get to know your company, your customers, your employees, your goals, and then we put together a detailed plan that maximizes what you do well and plans for improvement where you may need it. We weave together all the pieces of your story to provide consistency across marketing, communications, branding, and video storytelling. Reach out to us through our website, prcreativegroup.com. That's prcreativegroup.com, or call us at 832-553-6208. 832-553-6208. Reach out to us.
Bill Knapik has produced another show, Successful Living with Bill Knapik, one of the most unique programs of its kind. Sundays from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950 KPRC. Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Go to radiobill.net for more info. Go to radiobill.net for more info.